We wrote a Christmas song, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of that, right? If It Fits! And If It Fits Christmas comes out in 3 days. I still have a ton of work to do on the animation. Yes, there's animation. Well, if I finish the work, then there's animation. We're in a really good spot. I'll just have the usual anxiety I get every Saturday and Sunday before I release one of these, as I'm scrambling to get everything done that needs to get done, and I'm just thinking about the many life decisions I've made that have led me to that point. Anyway, we released the Christmas song that we wrote for it on Wednesday. Go listen to it. That sounded aggressive. Go listen to it. There are links everywhere. There are never not links in all the places that link should be. It's called Christmas Time Is Here. I wrote the lyrics, a man named Greg Kinane wrote the music, and we got the illustrious big Broadway star Nick Rouleau to sing it for us. So go listen to it, because I am going to talk a little bit about the process of writing it, at least the lyrics. Go, now. So the first thing you might be asking is, you wrote a song? I did. I'm not really sure how many people know this. Sometimes I forget it myself. But I, in a former life, spent 3 years in the BMI musical theater writing program as a lyricist. And if you don't know what that is, it is essentially just a program made up of about 20 to 30 composers and lyricists, and basically every month, maybe a little bit less, you were swapping collaborators and writing a new song based on a new premise. While I was writing the script for If It Fits Christmas, I got into my head that it would be a great idea to have it end with a big musical number. It was originally going to be a much bigger production, but as we slowly started to approach the premiere of the short, we scaled it back considerably. So we decided to do the Christmas song. I reach out to Greg. He says he's down to write the music in the very limited amount of time that I'm giving him to write this music, which is awesome. Actually, Greg, Nick, and I all went to NYU together, but Greg and I had already written some songs together in a songwriting class that we took in college. So once I had 99% of the logistics worked out of how I would actually get it done, the first thing I started to do was listen to Christmas music. And I started this process before Thanksgiving, and listening to Christmas music before the fourth Thursday in November is against everything I believe in, but I did it because I'm dedicated to the art. Obviously, I listened to All I Want for Christmas Is You, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, from Sinatra to Sia, from Mathis to Mariah, from Andy Williams to Serena Williams. She doesn't have an album. I'm kidding. I listened to it all, and my biggest takeaway from analyzing all of this Christmas music was that it is really all the same. It's all the same, and it has all been done before. Really, you could pretty much find a Christmas song about anything.
I farted on Santa's lap. Now Christmas is gonna sing for me.
I even had the idea of writing something about how we're selling out for Christmas, we're just doing it for views or whatever, to kind of pander to people looking for Christmas stuff. But there are many, many, many people on YouTube doing parodies of All I Want for Christmas Is Views, and even Stephen Colbert did a song called Another Christmas Song, all about how he's trying to cash in on people looking for Christmas songs. So all I got out of that experience was really just a lot of frustration and panic that I wasn't going to be able to come up with anything. And normally I like to know where a song is going to end up before I even pick up a pen, but because I couldn't come up with any kind of concept or overarching theme or premise for the song, I just started writing. And I always do this, whether it's a song or screenplay or whatever I'm working on, but it's just a stream of consciousness, bits of phrases, sentences. I ask myself questions, random lyrical ideas. Some of the stuff I have written here: is it Christmas yet? It's an If It Fits Christmas, Christmas time, counting down days till Christmas. Why do I love Christmas? I wrote Until We Puke. Great right there. And actually the first thing I wrote down was, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And that is something that I do a lot, especially when I'm writing a lyric. I'll just write out by hand other people's lyrics that I love. I've heard other people talk about how they do this, and I think it just takes away the mystery. You hear all these songs that you admire so much, and you think to yourself, how did they do that? I'm never gonna be able to write something that good. But when you write it out and you look at it, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It's so simple, so basic. And I'm not saying that I'll ever write anything as good as It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, but having done that, it helps me get through those moments of, I can't do this. I can do that. I can write those words on a page. And also, seeing how something can be so simple and so impactful, it keeps me from overthinking a lyric and trying to write something that's so elaborate and so smart and funny, which usually just ends up being bad. So that's where I start. And now, in a perfect world, after I've gotten all that prep work done and Greg would have gotten a little work done on the music, we would get in a room together and we would kind of start crafting the words and music at the same time together to create one cohesive thing. But I'm not sure if you noticed, we don't live in a perfect world. Greg's in New York, I'm in New Jersey, we both have small children, and also people don't pay us to write songs. So in situations like this, what I like to do is write a small chunk of lyric, send that off for Greg to set music to it, and then when I get that back from him, I can adjust the lyric and add to it depending on whatever he did musically. But for me to first get that chunk of lyric, what I like to do is, in the same way that you'll put temp music under a film to kind of give the composer an idea of what's in your head, I like to take a song that already exists, something that I think the finished product of our song will end up sounding like, and not necessarily write to that, but listen to that while I'm writing. So, for example, for this song, I picked Mr. Christmas himself, Michael Bublé. Not a Christmas song, but I Just Haven't Met You Yet. And I don't just sit there and write a parody of the existing lyrics to that song. I listen to the song, I try and get into the feel of it, the rhythm of it, and then I put it down and I write. And then I'll keep doing that on and off until that song starts to take on a shape of its own. And then I just go from there. That's what we did. I wrote a chunk, sent it off to Greg. He sent this back to me.
Maybe add a lyric here, 'cause Christmas time.
Which sounds pretty close to what the song eventually became, with some minor tweaks. And then I went about writing the full lyric. And I think there's a whole nother video that could probably be made about what I think the differences are between a pop song and a theater song. And what I write is most definitely theater songs. It's what I enjoy writing, and I'm not even sure where I would begin to try and write a pop song. But in a nutshell, I think I would say that theater songs are more explicitly character driven and feel more like communication than expression. I would say that it's kind of close to the difference between a monologue and a poem. And so for this song, I approached it from the voice of someone who was just getting more and more manic about their excitement for the approach of Christmas. And if you look at the lyric, it's a standard pre-verse AABA, which basically just means there are 3 distinct musical sections. The pre-verse, which comes before the song proper. There are the 2 A sections, which scan the same. The B section, which you could probably call the bridge. And then we come back to the A section, slightly altered for the big finish. That is a very standard song structure. You'll see it in songs from 100 years ago, but it still works really well, so if it ain't broke. But so the arc of the song, starting in the pre-verse, is he's talking about how he kind of can't wait for Christmas, and he's trying to hold himself together and wait for that Thursday in November, waiting for Thanksgiving to come and go so that he can start celebrating.
Try not to start till that Thursday in November.
But he can't hold it together. So in the first A section, he's gonna need an engineer because he's gonna put up so many Christmas decorations.
String them up till we blow a fuse.
And then the second A section, he's gonna listen to Mariah Carey songs till his ears bleed.
Is to play that song till you see blood oozing out my ear.
And then he tries to pull himself together a little bit in the B section.
Feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my toes.
But he can't, so he can't even form sentences. It's just a stream of Christmas words that keep popping out of his mouth.
Deck the halls, trim the tree, snow and cookies and family.
Key change. Until finally we get to the last A section, and he lets it all loose.
Oh my God, Santa, I know him!
Again, there is probably a whole nother video about how Greg wrote all the music, about how we recorded Nick's vocal. And by the way, a huge thank you to Linnea for letting us use her attic as a makeshift recording studio. And then all the arranging and instrumentation and mixing that Greg did in 4 days, by the way. I am musical, but I am a poor musician, so I am not going to speak to any of that. Maybe if people are interested, I can get Greg to talk about what his process is. But not today. I think this is going to be a long video today. You're welcome. So I will end it here. Go and subscribe to the channel so that you are prepared when an If It Fits Christmas premieres on Monday, December 23rd. Go follow on all the social channels. Go check out Nick and Greg, and I will see you. Oh, Merry Christmas. I won't see you till after Christmas. So Merry Christmas. There'll be a video in between New Year's, so I'll see you next week.